My question is about the Surah Namal and Anbiya. Al-Anbiya. No, I have a lot of questions. That's one of the reasons. This question is about Hazrat Sulaiman. You see, Allah Ta'ala has said in that surah that he was given the command over wind, over the wind, weather and wind. And he had lashkars of 3 different types. And then he went to see Queen Bilqis, and on propagation mission. And she was a worshipper of the sun. And then you see he Queen Sabah, sorry.
Whatever it is,
yeah.
Not mentioned.
Yeah, no, I'm just referring, sir.
See the Queen.
Well, it's loose term, you see, I use it. Anyway, the question is, yes, so the question is, he had a lot of techniques and engineering missions done during his time. My question is, how is that was possible 650 years BC, when things were not really up to the standard, and especially he made a palace made of glass. Could you kindly explain?
As far as the building technique is concerned, people before the present age, much before, even earlier than the era you are referring to, had learned the art of building so exquisitely that some of their buildings are still awe-inspiring. Particularly to people belonging to Pakistan and India, some of the remnants of their arts strike wonder. Absolutely one can't believe, because once during 1978, when I was showing my daughters, taking them around London, I showed them this London British Museum. And there, when we began to see the crafts, the artifices and crafts of people, say about 5,000 years ago, my daughter was so surprised that they said, one of them said, Abba, जो इन लोगों का माजी है वो शायद पाकिस्तान का मुस्तकबिल हो. Yani what they achieved in the past, it looks as if Pakistan may achieve in future, because in the present day, our artists have not reached that skill of refinement. There is no comparison, in fact. So many things was given to an older people, and old civilizations had achieved heights in certain spheres of achievements, which are even today unparalleled. For example, the art, as far as the building is concerned, these pyramids, you read any professional book on pyramids written by technical people, and you would be surprised to learn that although the stones are extremely heavy, many tons heavy, and they had no way to lift them properly, there were no lifts, etc., or mechanically operated things were invented. This is all right, but they have been placed and taken and carried to such heights that still the engineer of today is surprised, and they are offering many explanations as to what might have happened, but none is satisfactory enough. But the most surprising thing is about their alignment. They are aligned north-south so perfectly that the difference between the northern end and the southern end is so small that even with the most modern devices, highly technical data available to man today, he couldn't have performed such a feat. and each stone is aligned perfectly. The difference between the alignment is to some millimeter, and for those huge stones, that is almost perfection. No modern technicians could achieve that unless they have paid very, very special labor and spent time and energy and calculation and everything. Still, the scientists wonder if we could produce such a thing even today. And it is spread over 13 acres. And the height is about a furlong or so. So, all these things are awe-inspiring, even to the scientist. The layman, they look like just a miracle. These buildings are so awe-inspiring, even to the scientists, that some of the Russian scientists, not scientists, I should say the engineers and those related to the technique, could not believe it. And they thought, after studying these things, that perhaps people from space sometimes had come, and they had taught them the art, they had provided the knowledge and know-how and techniques, and the human beings on earth just worked as laborers. And similarly, many a myth has been created around these buildings, which are called pyramids. So if mankind had achieved such heights of technique which are lost to the man of today thousands of years before, why are you wondering at a palace built of glass by Hazrat Suleiman? The Holy Quran itself claims that people should not be proud of their achievement, because we taught the earlier people such arts of building in particular as they are still unpassed by the modern people, modern men. This is a verse of the Holy Quran which tells us in so many words that the technique of building was taught to earlier people by Allah in a manner that has not been reached or excelled by man of today. That is the time of the Muhammad. And that also applies to the future. Although we have advanced, far too much on the previous technology and art of building, etc., but in different directions. Those directions which were pursued by them, in those directions they still leave us behind. But we have gained knowledge and technology in other fields, so much so now that I don't say and never claim, and don't misunderstand me from this discourse, that they were more advanced than we are. All that we read from the Holy Quran and the evidence that we find is this, that they were advanced in certain fields. And it is only those fields to which the Holy Quran refers. When it says that they had achieved a great thing, a great culture or great civilization or great art of building or industry, all these verses apply to a certain narrow field in which human beings had made huge progress before now. It should not be taken to cover the entire field of human achievement, because that is what the Holy Quran does not mean, nor is it true. Because it's not true, obviously the Holy Quran wouldn't have meant it. Now, as far as the winds are concerned, whenever you are talking of a certain age, the meaning should be attributed to a certain statement should be according to the achievements of that age, pertaining to that age. The Holy Quran is declaring something to have happened in the past, as you have yourself mentioned, roughly 600 years before Jesus Christ. Now, there, to give mastery over winds, that should apply to that particular age. How mastery was given over winds? We know that at that time, these sail-driven boats were common in the world, and that was the main motive force employed by ships and boats. So that shows that Hazrat Sulaiman developed the art, or under him, his technicians and engineers developed the art of best utilizing the power of wind vis-a-vis the sailing boats and ships. And when we read history, we come to know that this is exactly what happened there. They had developed trade along the coastal area. The winds used to change 1 month in one direction and 1 month in the other. So, as you study the winds, I don't remember exactly 1 month or some period, but this is what happened. This phenomena is observable still today, because history has changed, but not the winds. So you can study the courses of wind and their behavior, and then you'll understand these verses better. That while they blew from one direction to the other, ships from that direction travel without any effort, without any human labor towards that direction. And when the winds reversed their direction, then they started the backward journey. And this was how they plied between northern and southern parts of their kingdom. So, by winds, it does not mean that they had invented aeroplanes. Because, number one, the aeroplanes were unknown to that era. Number two, if they had invented, there should have been some proof, some remnants to indicate that aeroplanes had once been invented. In the history, you always find some remnants of some achievements, of all achievements in fact. And because you don't find any remnants of this achievement, so we couldn't attribute to the very Quran, which apparently is wrong. That is just a wishful thinking. Unless somebody proves it, that something has been discovered which indicates that they have invented a way of traveling in air. Some people suggest that perhaps they had invented traveling through balloons, but still we don't know, because there is no evidence if balloons had been invented. So mastery over wind will be meant according to the age to which it applies. And this age of Hazrat Sulaiman contraindicates the development of aeroplanes. That's what we had in mind.
We were classmates in Talim Islam High School.
Is it so? Everybody has been friends today.